Bam scores 83 points in a game. When
Crazy.
you texted me, I was like, what are you talking about? I'm pretty sure that's exactly how Kobe's 81 happened. You're like, dude, did you see it? I was like, what?
Yep. No, I
I
think
was
I texted
out.
you at like half. Yeah.
I was like, I don't know
He
what
was
you're
going
talking
crazy.
about. I don't know what you're talking about. Joe, we got to talk about this, but we got to talk about it in a way we do it. Cringy, bingy, Bam's 83 points, Joe.
All right. Let's do it.
Here we go. Cringy, bingy.
Man, I hate to say it because I love Bam.
Liar.
I love
Liar.
Bam. You know Bam's our boy. Dude, Cliff.
He's your boy. I loved Jimmy.
Come on. The Miami runs. The block on Tatum.
That was nice. I loved Jimmy. Jimmy was my boy.
My
My love for the Heat is over.
Let me say this. Bam definitely proved me wrong where I said this guy cannot score beyond whatever his previous
18
career
points
high
per
was.
game.
Yeah, and I would always be like, I mean, come on, this guy's like a under 20 point per game score. Although, and even with this 83, he might end up being under 20 points per game for the season. But he definitely showed he's capable. Look, Cliff, it was bingy. It was bingy all the way up until about 74 points. Okay. It was bingy.
Explain.
First quarter, he was amazing.
Yes.
31 points. Now, I do have to say something. I know that people have been commenting, why didn't Washington do something earlier? I would have been double, triple teaming him after he got 31 points. Guys, and we'll talk about this later. Washington's tanking, okay? They're probably happy Bam scored 31 points in the first quarter. Yeah, they're like, hell yeah.
Dang.
We don't have to.
Yeah. Let me dab you up.
We can rest our guys. Like, we can rest our third string guys. Because they literally don't want to win. Okay, so this notion that Washington should have done something earlier really misunderstands what Washington is trying to do right now. They're trying to lose every single game that they play. They just don't want to make it look like they're trying to lose. And so Bam going off is perfect for them. It's like, hey, this is perfect. One guy's going off, and we don't have to try to lose. We'll just legitimately lose today. Now, so look, 31 in the first quarter, I thought it was amazing.
Dude, he was balling.
He was balling out. One. Okay, by the way, Alex Sarr also had like a really good first quarter. I think he had like 17. He was like 6 for 7.
Dude, but, that's great for him.
Yeah, that's good for pretty much any player, right? That's a good first quarter. Anyway, okay, halftime, he was going off. He had, 43. Third quarter, it kind of got farcical at that point. They were feeding him, but who cares, right? It's still...
And he ended with the Heat record, 62 points after 3 quarters.
He matched the Kobe 62 and 3 quarters. And guess what, Cliff? Had he not played a minute in the fourth quarter, I would be like, that performance was equally good as Kobe's 62 and 3 quarters against Dallas, because he was cooking. Now, fourth quarter, again, they're feeding him. It's fine. I don't really care, right?
Yeah, feeding is fine. He's hot.
He starts jacking up threes. It's a little bit like, it's not really Bam's game, but you're going for it, so it's fine. He gets an and one with about 4 minutes left, Cliff, to get him to 77. And in my mind, that is where the game ended. That is where the game ceased to be a basketball game, because Miami basically hacked the game after that. Okay? And it is not cheating. And to be clear, I don't blame Bam at all. But the game became very cringy because he was just jacking up shots. And either he'd airball, it'd go out of bounds. Other team would get the ball. They would basically let them score, right? So they would score just to get the ball back. They get the ball back. Bam would jack up a shot. If he'd miss, they get sometimes they get the offensive rebound. They just give it right back to him, and he'd just bulldoze in, and either he'd get fouled or he'd get a turnover. Because, he got a charge With less than 3 minutes left, he was called for a charge. They challenged the charge, up 25 points with less than 3 minutes left in the fourth quarter. It's unsuccessful, right? But and then after that, they start intentionally fouling to get the ball back. So in the last 2 minutes of the game, they intentionally fouled 3 times. Now, the Heat, because they're like, we don't want to be the team that lets Bam break Kobe's record. The only actually watchable time that somebody broke 80 points, because, nobody saw Wilt's 100-point game. Or nobody except for the people who were there. They start double, triple teaming Bam, and they intentionally foul another Heat player so that Bam doesn't get the free throws, right?
Oh boy.
And he intentionally misses his second free throw so that they can get the ball back. And it's just, Cliff, at that point, it really became a joke. It was not basketball. And it really, I feel terrible because I know a lot of people have already criticized Bam. A lot of sports writers, a lot of media types. Yeah. Even I saw the Dan Lebatard's whole thing. It was pretty funny when they were talking about it. And because even though they're Miami, obviously, like Miami guys. But it just ruined it kind of to me. I feel like Bam would have been getting way more credit had he scored 77 and they pulled him out with 2 minutes left. And it never got to the intentional fouling stage.
They were up 28 points by that point.
Yeah, whatever. They're up close to 30. You put in the subs of the subs, right? And then the game just ends. Washington mercifully is spared being this. Because to Bam's credit, after the first intentional foul, he was saying, don't foul. Yeah. He's telling his teammates, don't foul, because I think he also knew, he didn't want to get it this way. He just wanted to, look, if they force feed him down the stretch and he has to create shots and he has to, that's fine. But if they're going to run out the clock, he doesn't want to create you can create an infinite, and not infinite, but so many possessions down the stretch. You turn it over, miss the shot, or get fouled. And then that takes a few seconds? Because you could just throw it out of bounds. Like you could jack up a 3, air ball, it goes out of bounds. Then you immediately intentional foul, you just get the ball back. So even with a minute and a half, you can create 10 or 15 possessions.
Which is the same reason my wife hates the end of basketball games. Because she's like, there's 30 seconds on the clock, but I know that means 10 more minutes of basketball.
Yeah. And for that reason, Cliff, I don't think people understand. I know that there's people who are just saying who cares? It doesn't matter. He got it. He got the 83. He's in the record books. We were just talking about this. But I don't think people understand that sports doesn't really matter. It is not inherently important. It is valuable and it is meaningful. But there's no real life consequence to who wins and who loses. It's not like war. It's not like healthcare. It's not like law enforcement. It's not like education. These things are consequential. If the people do them successfully, right? For sports, success is winning, and that doesn't actually matter to anybody. Right? In the real world, we'll live. If the NBA disappears tomorrow, we'll live. Life will go on. We'll all be fine. However, it is very meaningful and valuable, but only because there's a certain integrity of it. Only because people are trying to win. Only because everybody's playing on a certain field and you're not manipulating all the rules of the game in a certain way. Once that starts happening, it becomes distasteful. I think this is why people don't like OKC and the way that they do a lot of things, that people don't give SGA's flowers because, it's this kind of manipulation. And this is not that. This is worse than that, right? Because winning doesn't matter at that point, and you're manipulating the game just to get this record. And people don't like it. It felt like an all-star game. It felt just like something that nobody cares about. You brought up a good thing about that.
Yeah, I think in regards to the all-star game, this is why people didn't praise Wemby and CP3 when they hacked the skills challenge.
Yeah.
Because the shots don't matter, right?
Remind them if people don't remember what happened there.
Yeah, in the skills challenge, instead of actually hitting shots, they just tossed it real quick because it's all about the time.
Because you have 3 attempts, and if you make it, you can just move on, or you can just miss 3 times real fast. Right, you move on no matter what. So they're just like jacking them up and missing on purpose. But it's like, this is so distasteful, right? It's like, okay, maybe you'll have the best time, but nobody's gonna be like, "Oh, you're the best."
My brother once, I don't know if I've told you this, he once ranked number 1 in the US in Tekken.
Wow.
In PlayStation.
I didn't know that, yeah.
He did it with
really good at Tekken, though.
He did it with 3 moves, though. 3 moves.
Ultimate cheese.
3 moves. Cheesed his way to the very top. Martial law. Cheesed his way to the very top. Doesn't make it legitimate? Sure, yeah, he was number 1. Does it make him the best Tekken player in the US? No, absolutely not. Yeah. But he got there.
That's kind of why I think it is fair for people to feel a certain way about it and be like, I think Kobe's 81 was greater than Bam's
Because
83.
the internet is divided about it, right?
Yeah.
There is this big divide that like people are like, this tells me everything I need to know versus Kobe's 81, right? And so
yes.
I think I want to share.
Most of those people didn't watch the game. And I watched both games start to finish live when it was happening. And so I was really hyped about the Bam game until the end. I just felt so gross about it. I was like, ugh, like, this is gross. This isn't basketball.
Let me tell you a couple stats. So Kobe's 81-point game, he never shot under 50% from the field in any quarter. Any quarter. And in the first 3 quarters, Kobe shot 4 free throws, 2 free throws, 1 free throw, and then 13 in the final quarter. Of course, because as he's getting hot, as the numbers start climbing, they're pushing it.
They're fouling him, yeah.
Bam, in the last 3 quarters, shot 37% from the field, taking 27 shot attempts.
Yep.
And he shot 14% from 3, taking 14 3-point attempts. I would never have guessed someone would have scored 83 points based on those stats. I would imagine that they would have gotten benched and been like, dude, no, Marcus Smart, sit down, you know?
Yes. Even for the game, he was 20 for 43, 46.5%. He was 7 for 22 from 3, 31.8%. And he was 36 from 43 from the free throw line. Most free throw attempts
43
ever.
From the free throw. So I want to talk about that a little bit. So 11 dudes ever have scored 70-plus points. There have been 16 total 70-plus points in NBA history. Bam has the least amount of field goals made in those games above 70 points.
Yeah.
Last point, outside of Wilt's 100 and Wilt's 78, where he played 63 minutes to get those 78 points.
Yikes.
Nobody that has scored 70 plus has shot more than 26 free throws.
No.
Even in those Wilt games where he shot more than 26, it was 31 and 32. So Bam's nearly doubled everybody else's free throw attempts in these 70-plus games, and he more than doubles Kobe's for his 81-plus point performance.
One last thing, which I find interesting. Plus, like I looked up a few games, and I just looked up Doncic's 73, because to me, like, I don't count any of Wilt's stuff because we don't have the advanced stats and all that stuff, and we don't have tape, right? Doncic, plus minus in the game that he played, plus 13, and the team won by 5, right? So he was plus 13, the team won by 5. Kobe in his game was plus 25, and the team won by 18. You know, so plus 7 more than the team's plus minus, right? Bam in his game plus 20, but the team won by 21. goes to show what a strange game it was. And look, was it great? Does Bam deserve his flowers? Yes, he does. But do I think it ranks up there with a lot of the other, like with Kobe's 81, let alone a lot of the other kind of crazy good games? I just don't think it does. Yeah, I just don't think it does because it was so weird. And I don't take anything away from Bam. It's just, I want people to understand that it is fair to criticize how something happens, not just look at the final tally and be like, well, who cares? It doesn't matter, right? Especially in sports, because that's the only reason sports matters. Otherwise, it's just WWE, right?
Otherwise, it's just WWE.